Hello everyone. Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Hot Topic series. Today we're going to be working on Hot Topic, the creativity pill. So I've picked up a news article that seems pretty interesting. We're going to do lots of work with it. Part of what we're going to do is look at the insights that this medical research has given us about what creativity really is, and we can then talk about how we feel about creativity, how we feel about pills, how we feel about the future of medical science, and what it's and the connection to a kind of turn to neurology. Lots of things we can talk about there. But first, a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate in my class. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Tune in to the new words that you're learning when we are speaking so I can give you feedback and correct you. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And when you click the link in the window that I gave you, you will see this graphic, so that way you know where we are. So let's get started. Let me just say a quick hello to, looks like Max is back, and Yuki. How are you guys doing?
Fine, thank you.
Very good.
Very fine.
How's everything with you?
All right. I guess.
Good.
It's Friday. I'm a little tired. Other than that, okay.
Have you survived?
Survived? We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough.
A little more.
Thanks God it's Friday.
Yeah, except that I'm now working Saturday too, so you'll see my smiling face tomorrow if you're around. Hey, let me ask you a question. It's always good to start with pictures. What do you think about this picture? What do you think it's trying to tell us?
It's brains in the capsule.
It's a capsule full of brains, yeah.
It seems like medicine for remedy of Alzheimer, maybe.
Really?
I don't know.
So, if you take a capsule full of brains, you might fix your Alzheimer's disease. Okay.
Sounds good. Maybe.
Sounds good. What do you think, Max? What do you think it's trying to tell us?
Well, for me, a picture like this is telling us that there are some medicines that can improve the power of the brain.
Ah, okay. Improve brain power, in other words.
Okay, improve brain power. Brain power.
Very good. And you both brought up very good points. So let's find out. We're going to find out a bit about it. But let me ask you. Well, let me ask both of you the questions that you just raised. So, Max, do you think there is a pill that can improve brain power? Because there are pills that purport, not report, but purport to improve brain power. Do you think something like that is possible?
In the reality, I think that it's possible, but we have to discuss about a couple of questions. First of all, in which field we are talking about? Just because I think that in the history we have some examples in which, for example, the bands, the musician band, and then the singers have used a lot of endorphins or a lot of LSD to improve their creativity. And in some cases, for example, with the Pink Floyd, a very famous band.
Yuki's favorite band.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, for example, with Pink Floyd, the result is very good, I think. But otherwise, I don't think that to use drugs is a good thing in this case in that field. And in other fields, in medical fields, I really don't know if exists or will be something like this. But I don't know if you read something about technology, but in the technology are trying to use the nanorobot that are into the pills or into the in action. They put them in your body through a bottle of water, a glass of water, and the nanorobot can work inside your body to remove or to attack the cancers and other things. And then a kind of picture like this make me to think something like a nanorobot. Okay, something like this.
So that's a good point, yeah. Because nanotechnology there's a lot of hype about it. Do you know the word hype? There's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of research as well. And there's a lot of promises being made. But the hype is that, yeah, you could fix problems on the microscopic scale. So maybe through nanotechnology, we could improve brain function as well. Like, for example, Yuki, you brought up Alzheimer's disease, right?
Yes.
Well, one of the problems in Alzheimer's disease is the production of proteins in the brain. These proteins, they don't really know what the connection is, but it seems like there's overproduced proteins which literally create a kind of a film on the brain. And one idea is to get rid of that film. Although there's been studies with mice where they take pills and I forget the name of the it's called plaque. It's called plaque, the stuff that starts to sort of clog the brain. The mice studies showed that the plaque didn't necessarily affect the cognitive function, and they could improve it in mice, and that was through taking a pill. Do you think we'll be able to cure Alzheimer's through nanotechnology, for example? Yuki, what do you think?
I don't know. I know that doctors, researchers now make every effort to make to realize the nanotechnology. To utilize nanotechnology in the field of medicine for remedy for senile.
Maybe to cure. It would be a good word.
To cure senile, but I don't know. But not only nanotechnology, but also other method, other technology, other
diseases.
Other remedy maybe can be applied for the remedy for Alzheimer. So I don't know.
Yeah, so do you think we're going to reach the point where we can actually treat these sort of untreatable brain diseases?
Yes, yes. I have seen the documentary of Alzheimer and senile. In this documentary film, some kind of remedy had been proposed to cure the disease. One of these is just controlling the nutrition. In comparison with past time, 20, 30 years ago, number of senile in Japan increased rapidly. Some some researchers think that it is because of the imbalance of nutrition. Complaint nowadays, people used to have very easy food like fast food, and they have more oil than before, and they prefer to take meat than fish. It negatively affect on the brain brain function. It sometimes caused to the senile. So I think I think many aspects have been applied to cure the disease, not only nanotechnology.
So one way or another, it seems like well, if we can change people's habits, then we might be able to make a difference. By the way, two things. The pronunciation would be, there's a difference between senile and senility. So I wrote in the chat box senility as a noun. To be senile is an adjective. So senile, right? Senile and senility. And also, remedy is one word, but let's look at some alternatives too. Look in the chat window. So besides remedy, we could say all of those things. Solution, answer, cure, antidote. Forget about curative, that's a mistake. Treatment, medicine, medication, drug. So all of those could be other ways to say remedy. But that's why I suggested first you could cure the disease, right? But also just remedy as a noun, we probably would just say treatment, I guess, as a treatment for. So maybe that's the best word. Wow, we got all that English out of one picture. Not bad. Very good. Not bad at all. What we're going to do in this hour is focus a little bit more on the language and vocabulary. As you can see, there's a set of links I put there, a set of links in the document. The first is the link to the original article we're going to read from the Atlantic. We've got a warm-up, and then we've got some vocabulary work where you see keywords, collocations, word formation, and reading. So we're going to do all of that in this hour, and in the second hour, we're going to focus more on the discussion. In other words, once we figure out what vocabulary is good with this topic, we're going to use it in the second hour to discuss these issues. And I have a little presentation in the second hour about one example of what a creativity pill might be like. A really interesting example. So if we have time, we'll do that as well. So discussion and a little presentation. So let me ask you 3 questions which we need to think about to talk about this theme. What is creativity? What is obsession? Because you're going to read about that in the text. And is there a difference? And if there's a difference, where's the line between them? So how do you think we can define creativity first? How would you define creativity?
Creativity is just the ability to create something, maybe painting, maybe carving something, maybe writing. Many kind of creativity people have.
So when you say the ability to create, I wonder if you could substitute create for another word, because I don't want to use creativity and create together. So
it relates to the new ideas, imagination.
The ability to imagine, come up with new ideas. So let's look at that as one definition. And Max, what would you say? Would you add or change anything from that definition?
Well, I think that creativity is the ability to use our or the experience of other people, that you know with your study, of course, and the ability to use the things that exist to create something else. And this something else should be, for example, an update or upgrade of something that exists or something new. For example, to use the robot and to use the robot, to use the nanotechnology, and to use the science to create a new medicine.
So creativity has a lot to do with the application of something old into something new, the application of it. So the ability to use experience to make something new, an update, or a new application of something old that already exists. So finding kind of a new use for something that's already out there is when I say something that's already out there, I mean, as you said, experience, or others' experience, or something that we look at in one way and finding a new way to use it. Okay, so for you, it has a lot to do with the application of knowledge and experience, finding a new way to apply it. Did I get that right?
Yes, of course. It's all right. It's all right, and I do it in my work every day.
You do? Oh, very good. What's an example?
For example, I'm a startupper with a couple of colleagues of mine that are with me from a long time when we were into the university, and now we are a startupper into the Polytechnician of Turin in Italy, and then we are using things that exist in another way, and then we do a new app that do something different. I don't want to use the name in this classroom because I don't want to do advertise, of course.
Okay.
Of course, but in this case, we are using
working in IT, right? You said
yes,
you're working in IT. Yeah, okay.
Yes, of course, in IT, and we try to use our creativity every day.
Okay, very good, very good. Let's say a quick hello to Luo, who's just joining us right now as well. Welcome, Luo. How are you?
Hello, John. I'm great today. Thanks for asking. But the weather a little bit hot today. Yeah.
Where what? Sorry?
Weather. The weather.
The weather. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying where is, and I couldn't understand. Are you near the street? Because I'm hearing lots of traffic or something. I can't tell what it is. Well, we're just beginning, Luo. We're just talking about the themes that we're going to encounter here. So we asked and answered the question, what is creativity? Yuki stressed that it's coming up with new ideas, and Max stressed that it's sort of applying something old in a new way, finding a new use for it. So two aspects of creativity. Another thing we're going to read about is obsession. And then I'm asking where the line is between them, if there's a difference. We've all heard the cliche of the mad artist, the obsessed artist. Creativity and obsession seem to go hand in hand. But first of all, Luo, let me ask you, what is obsession? What comes to mind when you think of that word?
Well, actually, the noise is my wife is cooking, and
Oh.
I mean the open kitchen is so, and the opposition. I think it's it's if you love something and you are addicted to something, probably we can call this as obsession.
Okay, very good. So like a kind of addiction. Very good. We're actually going to see that in the article. Someone who had a very unusual addiction. So, what was that about the super typhoon? Is there really a typhoon?
I heard a typhoon attacked to Taiwan and China now.
Is that right?
Yes, typhoon attacked to the Hainan island, Hainan province, but we are in the outback, so we were not affected by the typhoon.
Okay. So the typhoon you hear is his wife cooking, apparently. It's not the typhoon. Don't worry.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, and as a class, is there a difference between these two things in creative people? That's one of the things the article, it's one of the issues the article raises. Is there a difference between, is creativity just kind of a form of obsession? If you think about something long enough, if you have a kind of addiction to painting or sculpting, I mean, think about the time it takes to create a masterpiece, or even to create just something really good. I mean, how long, let's talk about Pink Floyd, because you brought it up. How long did it take them to create Dark Side of the Moon? Do you know how long it took?
I don't know how long it took.
It took more than 10 years, because
Yeah,
that's what Roger Waters said. He said it took more than 10 years.
I
Maybe
didn't know. Yeah.
not because the album took 10 years, but because it took them 10 years to be ready to find their signature, the thing that made them unique. And then when they found it, it happened quickly. And then they were finished. He said that was all they could do, and everything else they did. I remember reading this in an interview. You know, Roger Waters is very blunt when he speaks. He said that was our high point. Everything else we did because we didn't know what else to do. We just started experimenting after that because we didn't know what else to do. We'd already done everything. We'd already reached our potential.
I didn't know how long it took to create an album, but I know that they have sung the songs from this album for 30 years until recently in concerts. They have earned a lot of money from it.
It's true.
Yes.
And that's one, I think, yeah, and that's another question, is that when you reach your potential, I mean, what I'm trying to say about him is, yeah, it paid off, didn't it? Is that it took this kind of obsession, this kind of like single-mindedness for a long period of time. Forget about the drugs. It took single-mindedness for more than 10 years for them to be able to find this thing that made them unique. Because in the beginning, they were really interesting, but they were a psychedelic pop band in the 60s. There were many others, but that album set them apart. They somehow were able to speak to a broad audience. So that's my question. Let me just say a quick hello to Shruti. Hello, Shruti. How are you? Don't forget to click the microphone icon so you can turn on your microphone. It's on the top of the screen. And then just say hello to the class. We're just beginning to talk about the themes involved. Oh, Shruti is gone. Okay, bye, Shruti. Nice to see you. So, before we move on, let me just ask a quick question here. Final question. Do you think there's a difference between being obsessed about something and being creative? Do you think there's a difference? Do you think they're the same thing? Or do you think they have nothing to do with each other?
I think, teacher, if I can say, I think that there is a big difference between creativity and obsession.
Okay.
For example, in Italian tongue, the creativity is always a good thing, and the obsession is always a bad thing. But in the reality, I think
Ossessione.
Ossessione. Okay, it's fine. Ossessione.
Which is the first film by Luchino Visconti, by the way, the very first film.
Wow. Okay. Also, in fact, in Italy, this kind of word is used, for example, by the media to talk about something that has mind problems. Okay. And then, but I think that that in the reality, the creativity and the obsession is, especially in art field, are really, I quite close. because if someone, for example, just before we are talking about that the Pink Floyd took more than 10 years to write down Dark Side of the Moon. Ah, what a kind of masterpiece. And then I think that if a man is has a lot of creativity, if he really want to do something, probably he could be a little I don't know the words, obsessioned by this thing.
Obsessed.
Okay, thanks a lot. Obsessed. Obsessed from this thing and by this thing until he did it, because it's very important not to give up when you have something in your mind and you want to obtain it and to do it. You have to do it more and more and more for hours and hours and hours. And I think that something like this is a kind of obsession.
Okay, very good. So it seems that obsession or single-mindedness, it's another way to say it, you need to have an element of it. If you don't have that element, you'll never make your breakthrough in creativity. It sounds like that's what you're saying, that there is a connection. Do you all agree with that?
Yes, of course, I agree.
What about the rest of you? Do you agree with that?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
No, he was saying that in Italian, these words have totally different meanings. Creativity is positive, and obsession is very negative. Like
Yes.
someone who has mental problems is obsessed. But in actuality, he's saying that if you don't have an element of obsession, you'll never be truly creative. You need a certain kind of dedication that doesn't come without a little bit of obsession.
It
So-
seems to me that this is the main theme of today's class. Yes, obsession is usually it means the unhealthy condition, very strong interest to something. It urged people to do something very curiously, but in some cases it works positively, maybe creating something very new things. So
and also to give you the dedication not to give up, because you know what Woody Allen said. Woody Allen said 80% of success is just showing up, right? So if you don't have an element of that single-mindedness, you won't complete anything. You have to have that drive, and some people lack it. So maybe there is a connection. I don't know.
Maybe it helps to maintain endurance.
Endurance. Good
endurance
word.
is very important to create something for creativity. So I have no endurance in my nature.
You have no endurance. You're
So
like in every class in Verbling. You have endurance. That takes a lot of endurance. There's different kinds of endurance. There's some things I can't spend 5 minutes on, but you know what I'm saying? There's different kinds. I've got some. I want to just take a look at some of the vocabulary we're going to look at. So we talked about the theme a bit. This next sections, by the way, for people who are just joining us, like Sharuti and Giuseppe, just joining us now, we're talking about an article we're going to read. We're going to start right now, actually. And we're going to focus on vocabulary for the first hour. In the second hour, we're going to discuss the findings in the article, in this medical research, and what they mean for creativity, and ultimately what they mean for the way we think, what makes us human, ultimately. But first, we're going to look at the findings. So some of the vocabulary we're going to look at is here in this box. You're going to find some key words. I've mixed the sentences up. So you have to figure out which, you're only going to get this through reading. You're not going to be able to guess this, I don't think. You can try if you like. So for example, some of the keywords you'll see in the article are novelty seeking. What does novelty seeking mean? Something that is underlying, a trait. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Maybe I made a little mistake here. Whoops. Yeah, I think I made a mistake. Okay, ignore that for a second because I made a mistake in the PDF. In your actual document, I think it's correct. Hold on just a second. Let me double check. Let me go back to that. So anyway, we'll go back to those keywords in just a second because I think I mixed up something. So we're going to look at some keywords. Here, the next section, I have collocations. I did the same thing. I mixed up the first half of the sentence with the second half. In other words, collocation is a pattern in the language. You have to figure out which preposition matches with which verb by trying to match up the first and the second parts of the sentence. You'll get it through reading. You can guess if you like, but I think it'd be better to read the article and then go back and see if you're able to figure it out. So there's collocations there, after keywords, and down here, word formation. So you'll find these words in different forms in the article. Your job is to try to figure out fill in the other categories. So you might see author as a noun. I want you to think of another noun form, a verb form, an adjective, an adverb, and what it might look like with a prefix or suffix. So let me just double check my original here to see if I screwed up the first exercise. I think I did. Give me just a second. Yep. I don't believe I did that, but I did. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I changed it on my document and not yours, so I'm going to do this quickly. Okay, so if you go to your original document, which I can share on screen if you like, give me a second here. Just a second to fix this, if it's going to let me. I want to look at the keywords first. We're not going to do all these exercises before we read, but we're going to just do maybe one or two. Give me just a second here. Almost done. And then I'll share my screen with the changes. Okay, there we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to look at the keywords before we read quickly. Then we're going to read. Let me share my screen because I've just updated this. You'll see now that they are properly mixed up. So what I want you to do, read a definition and see if you can match the word. First, let's read through the words. Everyone say one word. Actually, no, it's going to take too long. Let me say the words. Latent inhibition, dopamine, novelty seeking, underlying, and trait. So 5 key words that are important to the meaning of the article. Giuseppe, I'd like you to read the first definition and see which keyword you think best matches.
But an entire field of neurobiology grasping at an understanding of the chemical processes.
Difficult, huh? It's not an easy. These are I said definition, but I should have said that I pulled out sentences from the article. They're not actually definitions. So these are example sentences from the article. So repeat 2 words. Neuro. Yeah, neurobiology.
Neurobiology.
And so desired, that's an invented word that means very much. So in this case means very much. So very much desired. So desired.
So desired.
Okay. So what do you think is the missing word? I'm not saying these are easy. They're not easy. But they'll help you understand the text. What do you think is the missing word here? What do you think the missing word is?
Well, I guess dopamine.
Okay. So, what do you think dopamine is? If you had to make a guess. Whoops.
Dopamine is a substance which involved some cerebral or which grasp in the chemical processes. And I guess dopamine modify some aspects of chemical processes in neurobiological aspects of the human body. Probably.
Okay. By the way, my Hangout, my screen sharing is stuck. Let's see if I can get my camera back on. Yeah. Give me a second. Sorry. Hold on. I'm trying to fix it. It's stuck. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. Come on. Work. Oh, come on. Hold on a second here. Is it working now? What do you see now on screen? Nothing?
I see your face.
You see my face? How do you see? Oh, my picture, you mean?
Your picture.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, something is acting strange here. Wait a second. No, it's completely stuck. It'll work in a minute. Hold on a second. So while I'm trying to get my camera to work, because what I need to do.
And now I can see the text.
You still, but you're not supposed to see the text. Hold on. You're supposed to. Because the problem is that I tried to share my screen. It doesn't work. It's not working. So, and of course everything's broken. Hold on a second here. What I'm going to do is download this again because I can't share my browser. This doesn't work. Give me just a second to re-download this.
I think using Google document in the class need many power of maybe lose a lot of power from your computer. So it's quite heavy, and it would be a big burden on your computer.
Could be. It usually works, but yeah, today I don't think it's that. 'Cause I always use it. It's something else, something new, I think. Hold on a second. Okay. Anyway, I got this working. So now I just need to get my camera back on. Hold on one second. What I'm going to do? Oh, maybe I got the Verbling app open. If I turn it off. There's a way to get this unstuck. I just have to download another app and then stop it, and then it'll break whatever the script is. So give me 1 second, and I'll do that. All right, it's not working. So give me a second. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Duo, what kind of food your wife is cooking now? Chinese food?
Yeah, of course, Chinese food. It has been cooked. Yeah, has been cooked. Vegetables.
Oh, it sounds delicious.
Yeah, I guess.
What did I miss? Did I miss Luo's lunch?
I miss Luo's lunch.
Dinner.
Oh, is that it?
Dinner.
I'm hungry now.
Me too. Me too.
It seems that it smells.
You can smell it? Well, you are a clairvoyant, clairaudient, and other I don't know how to say if you can smell.
I downloaded I downloaded the Smell Luo's dinner app. So that's what it is probably.
I think it smells very delicious.
Okay, I got it working finally. Sometimes these things just freeze up. It's because I've always got Google Docs, so I don't think it's that, but who knows? So here we go. On the screen right now, if I can get this in the right place. So dopamine is something related to a neurological process. I absolutely agree with that. I don't know if it fits the first definition though. Novelty seeking. In general, what do you think that means? If I say novelty, what comes to mind?
New stuff.
Something new. Okay, I agree. If I say underlying, what comes to mind with underlying? So we get the general idea.
Highlight.
To highlight something. Okay.
To highlight
Not
something.
to highlight. Well, we've got to go a little further because underline, not underlying, but underlining would be like highlighting. But this is underlying, to lie, like lie down.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. So what comes to mind with underlying? Class, what comes to mind with underlying? Well, just take the words apart. Lying under. To lie under something. Maybe it's not clear. Let's skip it. We'll get back to it. A trait. What comes to mind with the word trait?
Characteristics.
Characteristic. Okay. And on the first word, I save for last because it's difficult. Latent inhibition. Can anyone give me an idea of what those two words could mean together? Latent inhibition. Latent inhibition. So what do they mean separately? First.
Latent means
Potential.
Latent means potential. Yes.
Good. Okay. Okay. And inhibition.
without any break.
Without any?
You can control it.
Okay. Okay. Without control. Inhibition is not a negative word necessarily. So without control sounds like it could be a negative thing. But inhibition is not necessarily negative. People want to be uninhibited, right? So inhibition could be negative. Uninhibited could be positive, is what I meant to say. So not just without control, but feeling no need for control, feeling free, uninhibited. So inhibition would be needing to control or feeling restricted in some way. So now that we have a general idea of what these words mean, just a general idea, we'll get back to the exercises later. We're going to start reading at this point. We'll go back to the collocations and things a little bit later, or we'll just focus on the discussion, whatever you prefer. Okay? So the article's pretty short, but it's got some very interesting findings. Yuki, why don't you start us off with the first 3 paragraphs here?
Okay.
You see where we are?
Neurologist Rivka Isabelberg recently noticed that her patients with Parkinson's disease seemed to be authoring more novels than older people tend to author. Looking closer, poems and paintings also seem to be pouring out of afflicted patients in a relative sense, specifically those treated with the synthetic dopamine precursor pill. levodopa.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Levo or levodopa. I think it's levodopa, but it's something technical. We don't really know. We'd have to hear it. But anyway, levodopa is the pill we're going to be reading about. Okay, keep going. One more paragraph, Yuki.
So Isalberg, a professor at Tel Aviv University's Sakura Faculty of Medicine, asked around. She wasn't the only one in her field to have noticed as much. She examined the collection in the comprehensive...
Wait, correlation?
Sorry, correlation. She examined the correlation in a comprehensive 2013 review study, which found creative thinking in medicated Parkinson's patients to be higher than in their unaffected peers.
Okay, so that's a lot of information. How do you think we could sum it up? It's always good to summarize and see we get to the main idea.
This scientist, neurologist, Isalberg found that Parkinson people who
patients
with Parkinson disease taking medicine, they show the special ability of creativity. So
that's it. That's the gist right there, right? For some reason, they appeared to be more creative than people who didn't have Parkinson's.
Yes. So she found creative thinking in Parkinson patient is higher than usually people. Usually patients.
Right. That's it.
Other patients.
That's it. So that led to the belief that maybe it was something having to do with the medication they were taking, perhaps. Max, you're going to continue where it says this week she published. Let me get it on screen. Hold on one second. For some reason, I'm having trouble getting my PDF in the right place. But anyway, it starts here. You're going to take the next 2 or 3 paragraphs.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. This week, she published new research that breaks down the relationship in the journal Annals of Neurology and whether they observe creativity, which she defines as a combination of originality, flexibility, and inclination to combine novel and practical ideas. To combine novel and practical ideas might be due to obsessive tendencies. Because the medication can cause a loss of impulse control, let's say, obsessive painting, obsessive hobbyism. I don't know ism.
Hobbyism. So it's a connecting 2 words there. Hobbyism. The word
hobbyism. Okay,
and
hobbyism.
People like people obsessed, like hoarders. They go around picking up. They can't get rid of anything. They're obsessed with collecting things. So maybe your hobby is stamp collecting, but you're obsessed with it. So people who have obsessions, in other words.
Okay. Thanks. Hobbyism, we wanted to check if there was a correlation between creativity measures and impulsivity and compulsivity measures. Isalberg told me by phone from Israel. She's very courteously.
This one is courteously.
Courteously.
Courteously. Sorry, courteously.
Courteously.
Yes, courteously.
Courteously.
Good.
Courteously. Warned me that she may have to hang up abruptly to take shelter if a missile alarm goes off, as has been happening at her Tel Aviv Medical Center. Would it be better to talk later? I asked dumbly. There is no later. This is how we are living.
Right.
Okay.
So this article was written just the other day. So she's talking about rockets from Gaza.
Yeah, rocket, something like a rocket from Gaza, I think. Yes, of course. And I don't, I can see the third paragraph. Sorry.
I'll tell you
It's
what.
finished.
Sorry. Wait, hold on a second. By the way, I think it's very interesting that the Atlantic includes that paragraph. They're talking about rockets from Gaza. I can't imagine what a Palestinian doctor would be saying.
I have been in Israel 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah?
Then people, Jewish people, they are very
Yeah.
anxious about going somewhere
Right.
every time. They are worried of accident, maybe missile attack. So I'm very. It is very strange for us, for Japanese tourists, why they are so anxious about everything. But now I know, maybe.
Well,
Yes.
I'm just saying, compared to what's happening
Yes.
in the other territory, it seems strange. I do know that temporarily,
Yes,
one of the airlines restricted flights to Tel Aviv, but I don't know.
It is not only now, constantly conflict taking place there, so people it's always very worried.
Yeah,
People
very
are
tense.
worried always about everything there.
So I think that in a territory like that, probably they are able to work and to do all the things because they know what does mean have a rockets from the sky. And for me, that I was born and I live in Italy, it's impossible to think to do my work. For example, if there is a rocket attack, it's impossible to think. But I think that for them it's quite normal, something like this.
Yes, dangerous is very close to people there. When I have been there, I asked my tour guide to take us to some place, but he denied it to
Really?
take us, saying this is under control of Palestine, so it is very dangerous for us. So such a kind of thing is always taking place there.
Is it really that dangerous in Tel Aviv? I know
No,
many people from Tel
I don't
Aviv.
think so. This is a part of Jerusalem, so I think it is not so dangerous. But he thought it is some kind of there is dangerous.
Okay.
Somewhat.
All right. Well, let's see how much time we have. Let's do this. Okay, now we have time for a little bit more. So Giuseppe, Luo just disappeared. He'll be back, I'm sure. Why don't you take one more paragraph and then we'll pick it up in the next hour. But why don't you take, I don't know how much we can do in the last 2 minutes. Let's do this next paragraph, okay, Giuseppe? Starting at the bottom of page 4. You see where we are? The development of uncontrollable. Giuseppe, are you there? Uh-oh, I don't hear Giuseppe. Does anyone hear Giuseppe? Yeah.
No, I don't hear.
Giuseppe
has his microphone muted.
Oh, maybe he's having dinner with Luo right now.
He's eating spaghetti.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll continue reading in the next hour, because we're kind of at the end. So I'm going to restart the class right now, and we'll pick it up in just a minute from where we left off. Okay, whoever's here, we'll just start reading. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye for now.
Thanks a lot, teacher.
Bye for now. Come back.
Of course.